My stomach lurches, and my hand flies to my mouth. No, this can't be happening. I bolt upright, a nauseating wave of panic washing over me. Where the hell am I? My eyes dart wildly around the room. This isn't my bedroom. The heavy brocade drapes, the giant abstract painting, the lingering scent of a cologne I don't recognize. Frantically, I pull back the silky sheets. I'm naked. A moan escapes me, a mix of horror and sickening realization. What the hell did I do last night? Fragments of the evening swirl back, a sleek black car, Jaden's hand on my thigh, the dizzying whirl of lights at the club. But then, like a reel of film catching fire, the images become blurry and disjointed. My hands clamp over my mouth as another memory surfaces. Shots burning down my throat, a stranger's body pressed close in the pulsing dark, and then nothing. It hits me like a truck, a blackout. My heart pounds like a frantic drum solo, my breath coming in ragged gasps. How could this happen? Me? Responsible? Married me? My gaze falls on the bedside table, and I freeze. A sliver of something catches the light, just peeking out from beneath a magazine. A watch. A man's watch. Panic transforms into ice water in my veins. Jaden's words come back to me, whispered in the haze of the club. Let's get out of here. Did we? No, surely not, but I don't even want to finish the thought. My eyes sting with tears, a hot rush of shame flooding through me. I have to get out of here. I scramble for my clothes, the fabric feeling rough and unfamiliar. My phone! Where's my phone? Desperate, I search the room, my mind racing. There are missed calls. Shit, a whole bunch of them. The screen cracks when I fumbled it, mirroring the fractured mess of my life right now. Hands shaking, I unlock it. It's flooded with texts from George, my husband, each "you okay" and "where are you" is like a knife twisting in my gut. God, what am I going to tell him? How do I face him after this? A fresh wave of panic hits. I start deleting messages, erasing every trace of Jaden's number, wiping the call log. Is this some desperate attempt to make it seem like the night never happened? Like I can just pretend? I slump back on the bed, defeat washing over me. For the first time, the seriousness of this hits home. I'm not just some college kid at a crazy party. I'm a wife. I took an oath, made a promise to George, and I just trampled all over it. How do I even begin to pick up the pieces of what I've done? And worst of all, what if this isn't just a drunken one-night stand? What if this is the start of something that ruins everything? My fingers tremble as I tap out a text to my best friend, Sarah. 911. Need emergency wine and bad movie therapy ASAP. Within minutes, there's a flurry of knocks at the door. Sarah breezes in, a whirlwind of warmth and take-charge energy, a stark contrast to the hollow shell of myself. She doesn't even need to ask what's wrong. My tear-streaked face and crumpled form on the sofa tell their own story. Spill it, she says, not unkindly, handing me a generous glass of Merlot. The words tumble out of me in a messy mix of sobs and self-recrimination. I explain the blackout, the strange room, the watch. Her eyes widen with each horrifying detail. Okay, first, breathe, she commands, taking the empty glass from my shaking hands. And no more wine for you. We need clear heads to tackle this disaster. We comb through my bag, half hoping to find some clue, some magical solution. But there's nothing. No earring, no telltale makeup smudge. The only remnant of the night is a fading bruise on my hip, an ugly reminder of what I can't seem to remember. Sarah's practical side kicks in. First, that watch, she says, holding it up. It's expensive, definitely Jaden's style. My stomach churns. Could be a gift, but more likely left accidentally. Guy's a total player. A spark of dark humor flickers through me. God, and I fell for it like a total amateur. Sarah seems on the same track. We need to find out who this Jaden really is. Do you know anything? Last name? Where he works? Blank. I have nothing, making it all the more menacing. He's this ghost who now holds a piece of me I don't even remember giving up. Time for some social media stalking, Sarah announces, cracking open her laptop. My heart sinks. This feels so wrong, so unlike me, and yet, desperate times call for desperate measures. We scroll through profiles, searching for the face that now haunts my dreams. Finally, we find him. Jaden something or other, a flashy Instagram boasting expensive cars, club selfies, and a whole posse of scantily clad women. But what sends a shiver down my spine is his job. High-powered finance dude. Somehow that makes it worse. I wasn't seduced by some wannabe rock star. I fell for a guy who operates at the same level as George. It makes it all more real, more threatening. What are you going to do? Sarah's voice is gentle now, laced with genuine worry. And that's the worst part. I have no clue. My marriage, my reputation, Everything I've built feels like a house of cards ready to collapse under the weight of this single secret. I wake up from the same nightmare in a cold sweat. Jaden's face looming over me, his laughter echoing as George walks in, the watch glinting in his hand. It's so vivid I can almost smell the stale alcohol and cheap perfume. Mornings are the worst. That brief moment before full consciousness hits, there's blissful ignorance, then reality comes crashing back, the crushing weight of it all settling on my chest like a stone. I force myself out of bed, moving through my morning routine on autopilot. Each brushstroke of makeup feels like another layer of deception. My reflection in the mirror is a haunted stranger, dark circles under my eyes betraying the sleepless nights. George catches me staring at my reflection. "You okay? You look tired," he says, his brow furrowed with concern. Lies trip off my tongue with practiced ease. A late night of work, a bad headache, anything but the truth. Yet his worry doesn't fade. Guilt eats away at me. George deserves better than this, better than a wife consumed by a secret too shameful to share. Yet I'm paralyzed by fear. Fear of the consequences, fear of destroying the life we've built, but mostly fear of losing him. The doorbell cuts through the agonizing silence of breakfast. I nearly jump out of my skin. It's a courier delivery, a small, unremarkable package, addressed to me. My stomach turns as I sign for it, the weight of it seeming far heavier than it should. Back inside with trembling hands, I tear open the package. Nestled inside is a jewelry box, sleek and expensive. My heart pounds against my ribs. With a deep breath, I open it. My gasp echoes in the quiet kitchen. It's a diamond necklace, delicate, exquisite, and a perfect match for the watch that haunts my every waking moment. There's no note, no indication of who sent it, just another chilling reminder that Jaden is out there playing a twisted game only he knows the rules to. A wave of nausea crashes over me. I can't do this. This constant state of terror, the lies piling up, it's suffocating me. Desperation fuels a reckless impulse. I grab my bag, toss in the bare essentials. One look at George's kind, unsuspecting face and my resolve wavers. But then the image of the necklace flashes through my mind. A glittering noose just waiting to be tightened. Before I can overthink it, before doubt consumes me, I slip out the door. There has to be a way out of this mess. And if there is, I have to find it, no matter the cost. My hands shake as I dial the number. I found it buried in Sarah's phone, scrawled on a crumpled napkin after a girls' night out a few years back. A private investigator she swore by. This feels so absurd, like something out of a bad crime drama. Yet here I am, the sound of the sterile ringing filling the silence of my car. "Peterson Investigations," a gruff voice answers. I clear my throat, my voice barely above a whisper. I think I need your help." The next few hours are a blur. I meet him at a nondescript coffee shop, the kind of place where nobody would look twice at two strangers having a hushed conversation. Mr. Peterson is unremarkable, blending into the crowd with his faded jeans and worn-out briefcase, but his eyes are sharp, missing nothing. I tell him everything, the blackout, the watch, the necklace. He listens intently, scribbling notes in a small, leather-bound book. There's no judgment, only a quiet professionalism that's oddly reassuring. "Jaden, did you get a last name?" he asks, his voice low. Defeat washes over me. Of course I didn't. My mind scrambles through fragmented memories of our conversations. But it's useless. He always just went by Jaden. We brainstorm. He'll comb through social media, use his network of contacts. Maybe someone in the flashy world Jaden inhabits will know something. It's a long shot, but it's better than this oppressive feeling of being hunted. He hands me his card, the ink smudged on the corner. "I can't promise miracles," he warns, "but sometimes people leave trails you wouldn't expect. I'll keep you updated." As I drive home, a flicker of hope ignites. Maybe this is the first step towards regaining control. But that hope is tinged with a new kind of fear. What if Peterson finds things I don't want to know? What if Jaden is worse than I ever imagined? What if this gamble blows up in my face? The familiar ache of guilt gnaws at me. George is at home, probably setting the table, expecting smiles and light conversation. The thought of walking through that door, pretending everything's fine, makes my stomach clench. But what's the alternative? Tell him the truth? Destroy everything? A wave of despair crashes over me. I pull over, burying my face in my hands. How did I get here? How did my life turn into this tangled mess of lies and fear? I just want it to stop, to wake up from this nightmare, but there's no going back. Only forward, into the heart of whatever storm I've unleashed. My hands are still shaking hours later when I unlock my phone in the hotel bathroom. The sterile lights reflect harshly off the tile, making my pale face seem even more gaunt. I don't recognize the woman staring back at me. It started with innocent curiosity, just to put a face to the name. I told myself, scrolling through Jaden's perfectly curated Instagram feed. There he was, smiling on a yacht at a swanky club opening, surrounded by beautiful women who seemed to hang on his every word. It was like poison. Each image fueled the craving, the twisted desire to feel those hands on me again. To drown in the thrill of the forbidden, shame and disgust warred with a reckless impulse. I sent him a message. Just a brief one. "Remember me?" The chime of his reply jolted me back to reality. It was short, a cocky smirk in pixels. Of course, beautiful. How could I forget? My heart pounded. Part of me wanted to toss my phone across the room, block him, and regain some shred of sanity. The other part, it thrilled at the attention, longed for his validation. The lies to George came easily, a practice script I hated myself for mastering. A sudden work trip, an urgent client meeting in the city. He bought it all, his trust in me a dagger in my gut. The hotel room feels both luxurious and suffocating. Fine silk sheets, plush carpets, none of it matters. I'm not here to enjoy any of it. This is a prison of my own making, every opulent detail mocking the mess I've become. I pace the room, the watch ticking a deafening countdown in my head. My reflection in the floor-to-ceiling mirror catches my eye. I'm dressed in an outfit that feels completely foreign. Something slinky and revealing, chosen to please him, not myself. Disgust rises in my throat. What am I doing? What kind of monster have I become? George deserves so much better than this. Better than the shell of a wife who sneaks around and craves the touch of another man. Yet I'm frozen, trapped between a desperate desire to escape and the terrifying knowledge that with each step I take, there might be no going back. There's a knock at the door. It's him. Suddenly the fear is all-consuming. This isn't some intoxicating blur fueled by too many drinks. This is a conscious decision, a cold and calculated betrayal. I'm about to detonate the life I've built, all for a thrill that will likely leave me empty and even more shattered. I wake up on a pile of scratchy blankets, my head pounding. It takes a moment for the fog to clear, and then an icy dread washes over me. This isn't the plush hotel room, it's a warehouse? The same musty smell of old fabric and dust hangs in the air, a sickly echo of that first night with Jaden. Panic surges through me as I scramble to my feet. Clothes are strewn across the concrete floor, mine mixed with Jaden's, a mess of silks and discarded ties. The image sends a wave of nausea through me. How did I let this happen again? Last night is a hazy blur of tequila shots and Jaden's hands roaming my body as the music pulsed through me. Then I remember the flash of a camera. Not a phone camera, something bigger, more professional. My blood runs cold. Had he photographed us? Was this all some twisted blackmail scheme? My mind races, trying to connect the dots of what I can't remember. Suddenly Jaden stirs beside me, sleep rumpled and cocky. "Morning, gorgeous," he says, stretching lazily. He seems completely unfazed while I'm on the verge of shattering into a million pieces. "Where are we?" I choke out, my voice barely above a whisper. "Just a little hideaway," he replies, a sly grin spreading across his face. He pats the dusty floor beside him. "Come back to bed." The revulsion is a physical blow. I snatch my clothes and stumble towards the door, barely taking time to dress. "I'm leaving," I say, my voice shaking. But Jaden intercepts me, his grip surprisingly strong. "Not so fast, beautiful. We're not done here." "You're sick," I spit at him. "This is over. Whatever game you're playing, I don't want any part of it." His smile turns predatory. "Oh, I don't think that's up to you anymore," he says, his voice low and menacing. A chill runs down my spine. Suddenly, the man who seemed so charming just hours ago feels like a stranger, a dangerous one. I try to shove him away, to force my way through the door, but he doesn't budge. "Let go of me," I scream, fear and desperation clawing at my throat, and then I see it. A flash of metal glinting in his hand. My heart stops. He's holding the watch I thought I had safely hidden. How did he get it? The implications swirl through my mind, a sickening realization dawning on me. Had he been in my house? This wasn't about a casual affair. This was something far more sinister. The shower runs scalding hot, but it does nothing to wash away the grime clinging to my soul. Jaden's touch still burns on my skin, a phantom sensation mingling with the self-loathing coursing through my veins. I scrub at myself until my skin is red and raw, as if I can somehow erase the night from existence. Stepping out of the shower, I catch a glimpse of myself in the fogged mirror. My eyes are huge, filled with terror. It's the face of a woman who's lost, who doesn't recognize the person she's become. Where's the happy, confident wife? The woman George fell in love with? She's been replaced by this liar, this destroyer. I slip into jeans and a hoodie, something to hide in. The house is eerily silent. It's just as well. I have no words, no excuses left. All the lies are used up, the well dry. Part of me is relieved I don't have to fake a smile and pretend everything's normal. But the other part, it aches, knowing that the sweet comfort of our morning rituals might be gone forever. It's on the kitchen counter that I see it. George's briefcase, something he never forgets. My stomach lurches. Had he come home? Discovered something? Did he leave for good? Fear twists its icy fingers around my heart. Then, nestled beside the briefcase, I see a small box. My name is written on it in George's familiar scrawl. Trembling, I pick it up. It's light, but my breath catches as I lift the lid. Inside, on a bed of satin, is the watch. My stomach drops. It's been polished, the gleaming silver somehow mocking. Has Jaden been here? Did he leave it as a threat, a twisted taunt? My mind races, trying to make sense of the impossible. Panic fuels a desperate search. I tear through the bedroom, dumping out drawers, searching for any sign of intrusion. But there's nothing. No broken lock, no disarray, only the watch sitting innocently, damningly, on the counter. Finally, I collapse on the bed, the watch burning a hole in my pocket. It's only then that I remember the camera flashes from the warehouse, the chilling implications setting in. George has photos, he knows. Suddenly the front door swings open. George bursts in, eyes wild. He doesn't look angry, just devastated. My heart cracks, mirroring the brokenness reflected in his eyes. We stand there, frozen in a terrible tableau, the truth a yawning chasm between us. "I found this at work," he rasps, his voice barely a whisper. He holds up a sleek black envelope. The knock on Jaden's apartment door is heavy, fueled by equal parts desperation and fury. It swings open, revealing his smug grin. For a second, a surge of loathing overpowers the fear twisting in my gut, and I almost punch him in his perfect, smirking face. "Where is it?" I growl, shoving past him into the apartment. He feigns innocence, hands raised, the picture of nonchalance. It makes me want to scream. "Where's what, beautiful? You dropped by unannounced. At least let a guy offer you a drink first." His voice drips with sarcasm and something else I can't identify. "The watch!" I hiss, my control slipping. "Stop playing games, Jaden! Give it back!" My hands shake as I tear through his apartment. Cushions fly. A lamp nearly gets knocked over. I'm a tornado of panic and rage, the room a swirling blur. It has to be here. He wouldn't dare leave without incriminating evidence. But Jaden just watches, amusement flickering in his eyes. I finally collapse on his couch, defeated. "What do you want?" I choke out, voice thick with unshed tears. "Relax," he says, sinking down beside me, his arm snaking around my shoulder. I recoil, but he holds me fast. "You wound so tight, beautiful. No wonder you needed a little escape." The casual intimacy of it sends a shiver down my spine. "Don't!" I snap, squirming from his grasp. "This isn't some game, Jaden. You're going to ruin my life." His smile fades. "Maybe," he shrugs. "Depends on how you play your cards." An icy dread washes over me. This isn't about a watch anymore. This is a threat, cold and calculated. "You want money?" I try, my voice barely above a whisper. "How much?" He laughs, a harsh sound that grates against the pristine silence of his apartment. "Money's boring," he says, his eyes burning into mine. "I want something far more interesting." He leans closer, his voice dropping to a low purr. "I want you." Revulsion and fear collide within me. I take a step back, my legs unsteady. "This is over," I manage to say. "Whatever you thought this was, it's over." Jaden stands, a predatory glint in his eyes. "You sure about that? One word from me, one tiny little photo, and your precious little life goes up in flames. That sweet, perfect husband of yours won't be so understanding once he knows about us." My breath catches in my throat. This is beyond blackmail, beyond anything I could have imagined. My hands ball into fists, nails biting into my palms. I need to get out of here, to run as far away as possible. But the photos, the watch, the evidence is a noose around my neck, and Jaden is gleefully tightening it. The diamond studs seem to mock me, twinkling innocently beneath the harsh light of the bathroom bulb. "They're not mine. I'd never wear anything so understated, so tasteful." My hands tremble as I pick them up, turning them over in my palm. They're beautiful, yes, but a cold reminder of how little George really knows me. "Just a little something," he had said with a shy smile when I'd unwrapped them earlier. And I had smiled back, and thanked him, and hated myself more with each passing second of the charade. The lie about the old friend feels heavy on my tongue, the taste of it mingling with the bile rising in my throat. It's a small lie, a white lie, the kind everyone tells. But it's another crack in the foundation of our marriage, another sliver of trust eroded away. Suddenly, I can't stand it anymore. I snatch my phone, fingers fumbling over the keys as I compose a text to Sarah. "Emergency. Need to talk, ASAP." Within minutes, there's the frantic pounding at the door that only means Sarah's brand of support. George is already asleep. Bless his trusting heart. I collapse onto the couch the moment she steps inside, tears welling up before I can even begin. She doesn't ask for explanations, just wraps her arms around me, and for a moment, I'm a scared little girl again, seeking refuge from the storm. Between sobs and shuddering breaths, I tell her everything. The blackout, the watch, Jaden's threats, the photo, the earrings. I vomit out all the poison I've been carrying, the relief mingling with the crushing weight of self-disgust. Sarah's face reflects the horror of it all. But when she speaks, her voice is steady. "First," she says, handing me a tissue, "blow your nose. You sound like a dying walrus." It almost makes me laugh, like a warped echo of the person I used to be. "Then," she continues, "we strategize. This isn't the end, it's the beginning of fighting back. George deserves the truth, but you don't have to face this alone." A flicker of hope sparks in my chest. Maybe Sarah's right. Maybe fighting back isn't just about saving what's left of my marriage, but about saving myself from the monster I'm becoming. "Okay," I whisper, wiping my eyes. "But where do we even start?" Sarah's eyes glint with determination. "Let me worry about Jaden. Your job," she leans in, her voice conspiratorial, "is surviving the next 24 hours until I have a plan. And that," she says, squeezing my hand, "starts with getting some sleep. You look like hell." I manage a weak smile. For the first time in weeks, the prospect of sleep doesn't bring the specter of nightmares, just the promise of a new dawn. A dawn where maybe I can start rebuilding myself, one shattered shard at a time. The lilies tremble in my hands as I stare at the card. Love, George. An icy spike of fear pierces through the shaky relief I'd felt after my confrontation with Jaden. Of course Jaden wouldn't send flowers. This is far more insidious. A wave of nausea crashes over me. Jaden knows. He knows about the earrings, about George's innocent gift, about my lie. This isn't just a threat, it's a declaration of war. My first instinct is to hide, to shove the accursed flowers in the trash, to pretend it never happened. But that feels childish and futile in the face of the darkness that's encroaching. No, this is a message I need to face head on. I place the lilies carefully on the kitchen counter, their sickly sweet scent filling the air, the perfect backdrop for the storm brewing in my soul. This is a battleground and I can't afford to cower. Yet the thought of telling George the truth, of watching the devastation unfold in his eyes, feels like stepping into a firing squad. Minutes turn into hours as I pace the room, a caged animal. The weight of the watch in my pocket feels unbearable, not just the physical object, but the symbol of everything I've shattered. I want to toss it out the window, to hurl it into the sea and pretend it never existed. But I need it. It's my only leverage, the one thing keeping Jaden temporarily at bay. George's footsteps echo as he arrives home, the cheerful jangle of his keys slicing through my terror. The look in his eyes as he spots the lilies crumples my resolve. His smile, so open and trusting, is a physical blow. I want to scream, to confess, to beg for forgiveness I don't deserve, but instead, I force a weak smile. "They're beautiful," I manage to choke out. He beams. "Just a little something to brighten your day." The guilt crushes any remaining resistance. It's time. "George," I start, my voice barely above a whisper. But then his phone rings. It's just a work call, a minor interruption, but it feels like a stay of execution. The words catch in my throat. "Not here, not now. But where? How? I'm out of time." George hangs up, looking concerned. "Everything okay? We need to talk." I finally manage, the words heavy in the silence of the kitchen. The lilies loom between us, no longer innocent, but a symbol of betrayal and the terrible confession to come. The diamonds around my neck feel like ice, cold and unforgiving against my burning skin. George's gaze is warm as he clasps the necklace, his touch gentle. He loves me, he trusts me, and I'm repaying him with the cruelest betrayal imaginable. Every kind word, every smile is another nail in the coffin I'm building for our marriage. The walls seem to close in, the air thick with the lies I'm choking on. I want to rip the necklace off, fling it across the room, scream the truth until my lungs give out. But the terror, the fear of losing everything paralyzes me. George heads into the kitchen to grab us drinks, leaving me alone at the vanity. His reflection in the mirror catches my eye. He's oblivious, happy in the carefully constructed world I've built. A world balanced on the thinnest of threads. My own reflection is barely recognizable, a pale, haunted mask. "You look beautiful," George says as he re-enters, handing me a glass of wine. My stomach churns. "Did you have a good day at work, sweetheart?" It's a loaded question, an invitation to more lies or a chance to come clean. My voice cracks as I try to respond. "Fine, tiring. That night, as George sleeps soundly beside me, I lie awake, my pulse pounding in my ears, my phone buzzes on the nightstand, caller ID unknown, my heart lurches. Is this it, the final blow? With trembling hands, I answer. It's Sarah. Her voice is tight with worry. Are you okay? Has he done anything? Not yet, I whisper back, my voice barely audible. But he knows. He knows about the earrings. Sarah's sharp intake of breath echoes my own horror. How? She hisses. He sent me flowers, Sarah. Lilies. The absurdity of it all chokes out a desperate laugh. That's sick. Sarah starts, then trails off. Listen, I've got a plan, but we need to move fast. I cling to her words like a lifeline, a flicker of hope piercing through the suffocating dread. Sarah, with her fierce practicality and unwavering support, is my only anchor in this storm. Tell me, I say, my voice gaining a semblance of strength. What do we do? Sarah's plan is audacious, risky, and quite possibly insane. But in the warped space I'm currently inhabiting, insane feels like the only option. My hands tremble as I fasten the earring, my gaze fixed on the warped reflection in the mirror. Is this what I've become? A hollowed-out shell of the woman George loves? A woman capable of such monstrous betrayal? Ready? George's voice jolts me back to the present, his smile genuine and blinding. He's standing in the doorway, looking impossibly handsome in his tailored suit. Almost, I squeak out, a desperate attempt to buy myself a few more seconds. But there's no escaping this. Every moment I delay the inevitable is another blow to my already fractured soul. We arrive at the restaurant, the one where we shared our first date, where he proposed, where countless happy memories were forged. The irony is a cruel, bitter pill to swallow. George orders champagne, his eyes twinkling with affection. Yet every touch, every adoring look feels like a hot brand on my skin. With each forced smile, I chip away at the pedestal he's placed me on. I am no queen, merely a usurper in a kingdom built on deceit. Dessert arrives, my favorite creme brulee, the flame flickering like a warning. But just as I raise my spoon, the world tilts on its axis. A murmur ripples through the crowd, necks craning, eyes glued to the entrance. It's him. Jaden saunters in, his gaze landing on our table with a predatory gleam. My heart thuds against my ribs so violently it threatens to crack. He cuts a path through the astonished diners, that sickening smirk widening with each step. Game over. Happy birthday, beautiful, he drawls, extending his hand towards me. In it, glinting under the soft chandelier light, is the silver watch. It ticks like a time bomb, each second counting down to the final detonation. Who is this? George stammers, his eyes flashing between me and Jaden in horror. My voice fails me. This is it. The executioner has arrived, and I've handed him the axe. There's no escape, only the agonizing truth spilling forth in a torrent of desperate broken words. The affair, the lies, Jaden's blackmail. It all pours out of me, a twisted confession echoing through the stunned silence of the restaurant. George's face transforms, the love in his eyes replaced by a coldness I've never seen before, never imagined I deserved. Each agonizing revelation hardens his expression further. The man I knew, the man I loved, shatters with each syllable. When the last damning word leaves my lips, he stands. His voice, usually so warm, is now a chilling whisper. Don't come back. He turns and walks away, his retreating figure a stark silhouette against the brightly lit restaurant. My world implodes in slow motion. The concerned stares from onlookers feel like physical blows. All I've built, all I cherish, lies in ruins at my feet. I am the architect of my own destruction, and there's no salvaging even a single scrap from the wreckage I've made of my life. My fingers tremble as I tape the last box shut. It's a small, battered suitcase, the remnants of a life once overflowing with joy and love. Now it holds only the essential scraps of a fragmented existence, all I can carry with me as I run. Run from the wreckage of my choices, from the echoes of George's name mixed with those of disgust and betrayal. The new city greets me with indifference, a stark contrast to the small-town grapevine I've escaped. I find a dingy apartment the color of stale bread and a job waiting tables at a diner where tired truckers and lonely locals drown their sorrows in watery coffee. My days become a monotonous rhythm of orders scribbled, plates cleared, and forced smiles for meager tips. Loneliness is a constant companion. Even surrounded by strangers, I carry the weight of my secrets like an invisible cloak. I avoid forming bonds, terrified of the destruction I'm capable of, and the fragility of trust I've broken. Time crawls past, marked not by celebrations, but the anniversaries of pain. The day the watch first appeared, the night of the restaurant, George's birthday. Each date cuts like a fresh wound, a stark reminder of all I've forfeited. In the dead of night, when sleep evades me, memories flicker like a twisted film reel. George's soft laughter, the way his eyes crinkled with joy, the warmth of his hand in mine. All of it reduced to ashes by my own doing. I wonder, with a bitterness that chokes me, was it worth it? Those fleeting nights of stolen pleasure, the reckless thrill of living a lie. My soul answers with a resounding, crushing no. News of George reaches me like shrapnel from a distant war. Sarah, bless her steadfast heart, sends a carefully worded letter. He's moved on, remarried, even has a child. A sharp stab of mingled jealousy and shame pierces me. That life, that happiness was meant to be mine. I squandered it, and now it blossoms for another as it should. Remorse is my penance. I don't ask for absolution. I know I'm beyond it. Instead, I cling to the faintest flicker of hope, that amidst the ruins there might be a chance for redemption. I force myself to volunteer at a local shelter, fill endless job applications, take tentative steps towards a sliver of light. Maybe, just maybe, I can become worthy of a second chance. Not with George, but with myself. To look in the mirror and not despise the woman staring back. The road ahead is long and uncertain, but for the first time, I see the faintest outline of a path. A path built not on lies and betrayal, but the painful lessons learned and the hope that someday, the weight crushing my soul might ease.